Do not attempt to judge your podcast. You're tuned into When Black Men Talk. I'm your host, Mark Ellie. Appreciate you deciding to spend some time with us and give us a listen. We've been away for a few months for summer, basically allowing ourselves to refresh, kind of rejuvenate our thoughts, our minds, and our bodies. And we're back now to start off more episodes. I want to take some time out to thank you for listening to our past episodes. Throughout the summer, a lot of you folks went back and paid attention to some shows we did in the past. We appreciate you doing such. Also, want to take some time out to thank Pod Up for sponsoring our shows. They're aboard and putting some thought behind it. I appreciate it. Also, I want to state too that we started this years ago. We may have never thought how this was going to grow and where it was going to go to. We just kind of got together for 2 hours back then and talked. I remember Dee Maurice was like, what we're going to talk about for 2 hours. Well, we've been talking for several years now, and we happen to be located in 19 countries and over 206 cities. And that's just When Black Men Talk. So our conversation is being heard, and I definitely appreciate it on different platforms. Gentlemen, we've been away for the summer. I know for me, the summer has been gorgeous, man. Hot. Gave me a chance to kind of get some things done, kind of look at some things and some other perspectives. I really enjoyed it. But Dee Maurice, man, how's your summer been? Welcome to it. Good morning.
Yeah, I'm going to start off by saying get up for the downstroke. Everybody get up.
There it is.
Yeah, it's been an interesting summer, and a lot of things have happened, and I'm pretty sure we'll discuss it throughout the season. Be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. That's what I'm going to end by saying that, and pass it on back to you, man.
Here again, man, if you ask for it, I've assumed that you want it. If you don't want it, don't ask for it. That's how I look at it. Mr. Charles, welcome to it, my brother. We've been away for the summer. Let me say this too to you two gentlemen, man, that I may not say this often, man. Throughout the summer, I did miss you gentlemen not really getting together, having conversation. Thought about you guys quite a bit, so I'm happy to have you gentlemen back. Good morning, Charles. Welcome back to it. How was your summer, boss?
Very somewhat challenging, bro, but very fruitful from the standpoint of I learned a lot, but I learned about purpose, right, and what we need to do. And despite what you may want to do, may not always be what you need to do. So definitely challenging, but yet fruitful in a lot of ways, and intentional in a lot of ways. And since we're doing funk references, I'm gonna say "Glory Holla Stupid" to everyone out there. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, Google it, baby. Again, let me slow that down for you. "Glory Holla Stupid." Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. That's what we're definitely back with that one. Definitely back. Gentlemen, you know that we're blessed and fortunate sometimes to enjoy greatness. And at those times, sometimes I'm not sure if we really understand the greatness that we're enjoying. When I think of that, I think of two people in specific, James Earl Jones and Frankie Beverly. They left us with some things to really go back and savor. I'm going to roll this to you first, Mr. Charles. When you look at or you think of James Earl Jones or Frankie Beverly, man, what comes to mind?
Yeah, let's start with James Earl Jones. Initially, I just want to say that he was such a very versatile individual as an actor, thespian, influencer in several communities. He was a noted person of respect that when you knew who he was, you found out his versatility, his range showed so much greatness. He had a sense of class. That's the first thing came to my mind. I was like, man, this dude is cool, but he's classy as hell. So from the standpoint of that, he served a lot of a lot of different things that for a lot of purposes for a lot of people. Frankie Beverly and Mays, particularly Frankie Beverly, uh, he as a musician, his music resonated with a lot of different people, and they had what we call anthems. Anthems are things that they're just when you're at a cookout where certain things you just play that song because that's the song, right? I mean, you got "Fantastic Voyage" by Lakeside. You had "Happy Feel." So many things by Frankie Beverly that resonate as anthems. And to me, in music, what lets you know that you are a legend and you're great over the years and over time is when you can set a certain group or a discography of music, put it together, and you don't have to make a new and put out any new music for like 30, 40 years. That's Frankie Beverly, right? Somebody tell me the last time they put out a new record.
Mm.
But you don't have to. because the music is timeless and it's so wonderful that people just rock with you and they just love you for who you are and what you represent.
Yes, indeed. You know, it's interesting because there was a part of time where James Earl Jones weren't liked because he was outspoken, very outspoken about his own people, about women. And there's a time that people went away from him. But I remember a lot about him. But this is one thing I remember. And I don't think he got the credit he deserved for this because years ago, you look at Verizon now, the company Verizon, and Verizon started. This is when cell phones was huge, almost like a bigger clunk metal in your hand. It was called Bell Atlantic. And nobody was paying attention to Bell Atlantic at the time with doing cell phones. And they hired him to do voiceovers. And all you knew was when he came on the radio, he came on television, you paid attention. That voice, when he talked about the call doesn't connect, it's just something about that voice just stood out that kind of made you gravitate towards what the hell's Bell Atlantic? And I honestly believe he's the reason why Verizon is what they are today. Frankie Beverly, man, I cannot say enough about that cat, man. Met him one time. Good man. I love the fact, like you said, Mr. Charles, he has songs that just resonated with our community. When you were at certain times, in certain places, it wasn't right unless you just played some Frankie Beverly. And that, to me, both of these gentlemen, epitome basically of they're given something unique and they worked it to the best of their abilities. Mr. DeMaurice, your thoughts? James Earl Jones, Frankie Beverly.
James Earl Jones is, it's just a powerful presence. Anytime he was on theater, on film, just a powerful presence. And I want people to go just look at all the theater and film credits that he has. He's been in so many things, voiceover for CNN, voiceover for The Lion King. That voice was undeniable. Darth Vader, you name it, he was all over the place. I watched this series called Two and a Half Men, where he does a eulogy for one of the characters, and the main character's brother is like, "How you doing, Mr. James Earl Jones?" He's just enamored with James Earl Jones. So I always had a lot of respect for how he came to the craft, his powerful presence. Every presentation he was in, he was a main force in that, and that says something about his character. I was reading some things about him in that he started out, he was a stutterer, or he couldn't really speak, and he stopped speaking for a while until he was a teenager. And man, I think during the time he stopped speaking, his voice and his presence, and he was kind of blessed and touched to do what he does. And at 93, wow. The last thing I think I saw him in was Coming to America 2, and they kind of gave him a funeral there. And I was like, maybe this is them kind of saying goodbye and giving him his flowers. Then the character passed away. So, man, can't say enough about him. And Frankie Beverly is black music personified. I mean, his music makes me think of summertime. And if you only buy one album, get the Frankie Beverly featuring Maze live album. If I mean, if you don't have that in your catalog, I don't care who you are, where you come from, what race you are. If that doesn't get you moving and stirred up, listening to that man live, it's something that you can't describe. But I think in later years, people just wanted to see him, even though his voice wasn't there anymore. He was getting sick at the time, and he couldn't really belt out those tunes. You could see how emotional he was being on stage, and you had the background singers kind of holding him up, but people just wanted to be there and be in the presence of this man. That's how powerful his music is, and how much he touched the black community. I'm pretty sure other communities will get to know him, or if they haven't already, play his music. But it was something spiritual about hearing Frankie Beverly and Maze, that once you hear it, every time you hear it, brings a smile to your face, because it puts you. I don't know about anybody else, but it puts me in summertime. Every time I hear any music from Frankie Beverly and Maze, it reminds me of a barbecue. It reminds me of being with family. It reminds me of being in happy times. And with the song Happy Feelings, that's what he gave. That's what him and that group gave every time they touched the stage or the mic or played instruments. So salute to both of them, man. They they did their part, man. They did their part, and they contributed to um, our community, and it should inspire folks to go on and do great and fantastic things in the future based on their example.
Summer 2024 is packing up and leaving. It's on its way out. And I want to take time here to give God thanks for allowing us to come back together. No harm or danger has been done to us, three gentlemen, and we find our way back to be able to do something that we love and care about. But with that being said, Mr. DeMaurice, I want to come back to you and basically find out something that may have happened throughout the summer. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but it kind of made you think.
Well, I started the show saying, be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. And I've been asking the creator to be a vessel, to be used by the creator. And I think I talked to Charles about this last time we spoke after a sports show. And then all of a sudden, to my surprise, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And for a week, and then the next day, I found out that one of my uncles that I talked about on the show passed away. It meant a lot to me. And so I'm like, okay, why is this happening? Why am I getting this? Why the bad news? Just started a new gig, and for a week I was mad, I was upset, I was like, all these different emotions. And then, just speaking to the creator, and he's like, you said you wanted to be a vessel. You said that you wanted to be my vessel. You said this is what you wanted. So you got a testimony. You got to tell the story. I wouldn't have put this on you if you couldn't handle it. And you got to show people an example on how I work through people to help them heal and to help them be the best they can be, despite all the illnesses and all that other stuff. You got to be the example. You asked for this, and so I'm giving to you. I thought it was coming another way. I thought it was seriously coming another way for me to be used, but this is the way that I'm being used, and so I'm taking that challenge. I've had conversations with you and Charles about, hey, I'm going to reverse this. I'm going to do whatever I can to, get this out of my system and live fully and do what I need to do. And but it wasn't until then where I'm like, okay, if this is what you want to use me as a vessel means, then I'll step up because I truly believe the Creator doesn't give you anything that you can't handle. And because I couldn't figure out why, I thought I was doing all the right things and I know it's on both sides of my family, but I remember I didn't want to tell you guys until we got back doing the shows, and I remember sending a text message. I had to go to Dallas for work, and immediately I knew Charles was kind of upset, so he was giving me some time. But immediately, as soon as I sent the text, I don't even think I pressed the send button for a second. Mark, you were on the phone, like, listen, you got to do this, blah, 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 such and such and such. You called me the other night, like, what your black ass doing up? I told you need to be in bed. I'm like, man, come on, man. But I know that's all love, man. And then me and Charles had, several conversations about it. I got so much support from people that I didn't even know, even cared, man. One of my guys in the Kung Fu class that I have gave me he's a doctor and gave me a book. He said, man, here's this book. And I'm like, how much I owe you for the book? He said, just want you to read this book. This is going to help you out in my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes. You got brothers and sisters there that are being very supportive. So, man, it just shows you how many people are in your corner and willing to help you and support you. I thought I was the one that's supposed to be the major source of support to people, but find yourself in situations like, no, here's who really cares, here who doesn't care, and you need to see that every now and then. But yeah, asked to be a vessel, here I am. and I'm stepping up to the challenge.
I want to thank you, man, for sharing that, because a lot of people basically have diabetes, high blood pressure, and they're walking around keeping it a secret. Like you said, at first you was going to not say anything. And a lot of times, just like you're seeing it yourself, you having it and speaking about it and people seeing you work through it can be inspiring for others. And it's something as our people, man, sometimes we're afraid to acknowledge and speak of what's going on with us. We feel like, if we just kind of just don't talk about it, goes away. And that's not life. It's just not how life is created. It's not the way life is. And as you found out, man, you share it. Look all the help that God brings to you. He brings you everything you need to support, the love, the care that you need. And if you're tight-mouthed about it, how can you get it? Realistically, you should not be doing that alone, man. So I'm happy that not only shared it to Charles and myself, but you open up here and you shared it, bro, because we never know who's listening. We never know who can be affected by it. We never know who basically some things we do, how it can touch others. And what's better, much more better than that? There's nothing better than that, man. So I applaud you, my brother. I applaud you. Mr. Charles, something that happened throughout the summer. And again, too, man, get your black ass in bed at a reasonable time and get some sleep. I'm going to say it. I can stop saying it.
You called?
Because I knew your ass was up. I already knew you, cuz. I knew you was up. You let the phone ring one good two times. I knew you was up. But anyway, Mr. Charles. Mr. Charles, something that happened. Exactly. Yes. Don't want to sleep. I sleep an hour a day. Something happened over the summer, my brother, that stood out.
Yeah. Let's see. Uh, a reminder of who I am a few times, and what I mean by that is, um, for some reason that I guess it's part of life, but in my family we lost on both sides a couple important people in my life that I had connected with. One was my what I call my first playmate. We grew up together and everything the first part of the years of our life, and when he passed, it kind of hit me hard because he was like he's the guy that kind of introduced me to what I say real music, man. He got me on spot, and it's why I love everything that I do now because of his influence. Because he was way ahead of the game. But with that being said, when he passed, there's some very difficult situations financially, and with no insurance, and the people that were in charge of doing it, it was going to just be left out there, and somehow or another, how the Lord works. I was deemed to be the emergency contact. Now, real quick, in my context, emergency contact means if somebody's sick or something, you make sure the person gets what they need, right? That don't mean emergency contact take over every damn thing. But some people thought that's what it was. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not the next of kin. But I ended up having to step up and making sure that my cousin was sent off correctly, and that means hustling, coming up with different things, engaging other people, and through a lot of frustration. But at the end of the day, through the glory of God and the help of the Lord and so many other people, we laid in the rest properly, and that showed me about. It reminded me who I am, what I do, what I need to do, and what I had to do, and that was it. Just kind of continued to reinforce my purpose and why I'm here.
There it is, man. There it is. Gentlemen, I'm listening to you two talk, man. I'm grateful we do what we do. Because as men, we have a place where we can come basically share those things and say those things where others can hear it. And, what we share, what we experience, they're experiencing and sharing some of the same things. At least I hope they're sharing it. Because men need to have this dialogue, bro. We need to have it out there. We need to be talking among each other, basically, and just sharing. Don't keep everything inside. So I'm glad we have that. And I'm glad When Black Men Talk is that platform. This one's a little different for me. I was out. It was a Sunday afternoon. I think it was like early afternoon. And I got a call from my sister, Cynthia. And it was the day and the moment that they decided to elevate the vice president, Kamala Harris, to run for presidency of this country. And she went into talking. She was about it. She called me for that purpose. And I thought it was nice that I was on her mind to do such. She could call anybody else, but she called me and she said, Mark, I remember, when I was younger And when, young women like myself was going on to get education and doing stuff this nature, and people looked at us like we're strange. She said, most of the men were out here doing different things, getting high, chasing white women, whatever. She said, I knew then that basically us as black women are going to be elevated. We're going to be running companies someday. We're going to be doing this. And for her to see this woman elevated to become president of the United States, it meant a lot to her. And I'm sure it meant to a lot of other women in this country. And I'm sitting and I'm listening to it and I'm in awe. And I'm going back to that time and I'm really in awe because a lot of times we forget where we came from. We forget that we come up at a time when we just couldn't walk into any place. We couldn't use bathrooms. We couldn't do certain things. And now, we take those things like there was just always there. And we forget about those that fought for us to be able to do those things, that fought for us the right to vote. And you look at someone like, Kamala Harris, and look all she's been, how she's basically through her life, how her parents set her up. And she's not the only one in this country. There are many sisters in this country that basically with their families work to establish a foundation for them to do great things in this world. And they aren't doing it. And we need to pay tribute to that from time to time, not discounting the men, but I'm just saying the mere fact that we don't sometimes take time out to realize that there are parents years ago prayed and laid the foundation for us to be who we are. And I'm not going to, bite my tongue and say this. Some of those parents did that and we came up and were fuck ups. Some of us were. We know what the fuck ups are in our community. And it's a damn shame that we came from prideful people, hardworking, that built this fucking country. And we turn around and fuck up. Now, that's just my personal opinion. Gentlemen, I thought of this YouTube when I came across this story. This is a story that wasn't picked up by the local news here in the state of Connecticut. And I hate that. I really do. Because anytime there's a story of young men shooting, robbing, stealing, walking around with their pants showing their ass, it's breaking news. It starts the newscast. But this was hidden in a little local newspaper in Connecticut. Hidden. When I say hidden, I mean hidden. It's a young man. His name is Nigel Morgan. He is 12 years old in the 10th grade, and he's on his way to receive his PhD by the age of 18 years old. He's the youngest student to ever attend the University of Hartford, the same school, college that my son went to. Now, what makes this even more unique, his 15-year-old brother, Alexander, attended the school also, and this young man is majoring in aerospace engineering. They both have the Messiah level IQ of over 130. Think about that for a second. Why you can't open up a newscast with that? Why can't that make it in a 30-minute newscast? I'll tell you why, because you're showing the other bullshit that black men are doing or black young men are doing. They can't wait to show you that. Here are these two young men, they don't even make it within 30 minutes. They're not good enough. But it says to me, we have young men in our community that are doing some great things and they need to be highlighted. And if we don't highlight them, I don't expect them to. So we need to do a better job highlighting our own, basically going back, nurturing and mentoring our own, because we're sitting around looking at what they show us, and that's not all who we are. That's part of our community. Granted, I'm not going to act like it doesn't exist, but I wanted to get you two opinion because I didn't go to college. I didn't. You two did. You basically got, have the degrees. I salute you too. But looking at this, it made me feel happy. It just made me feel good inside. Two young men. They have pictures of them too. Two. These cats basically are doing things that, to me is astonishing. Your response, Mr. Charles.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's wonderful. It's amazing because when you understand what it takes to reach that level at such an early age, I know I was a late bloomer, so I didn't even want to go to college. So for my dad being persistent, but I understand that, and it's an amazing feat. And I'm happy for both of them. I'm happy for their parents because it takes a lot of discipline to get that done. To be so disciplined so young. My only thought for them, one of the thoughts I have for them as I get off of this is a thought of prayer that they're able to move forward and understand what they have, and also for the parents to give them a break. Okay, what I mean by that, not said I don't know what's going on, but make sure that they are allowed to take time just to be what we call quasi normal, right? Breathe a little bit, be a kid, be a young person, because that's a lot to take on, and it's an astonishing feat. But I think we also need to keep the reality of keeping them okay and letting them be normal from time to time without all of the expectation.
Mr. DeMaurice, I'm not ashamed to say, man, these two brothers were white. It would have made national motherfucking news. You'd have heard about it everywhere. Let's be honest. But being that, they're black and they, in Connecticut, realistically, don't they deserve it? Your reaction, my brother.
Yeah, I like to salute the parents and these two young men and keep pushing forward. I absolutely agree with Mr. Charles. Let them be kids, but still they are blessed with astonishing gifts, and hopefully those gifts will bear fruit and doing some amazing things for the community and society as a whole. But the reason why I think they're not showcases because they don't fit the stereotype of what society wants to and how to paint black men in this country. And so you're right. We worked in media. All of us worked in media, and basically, if it bleeds, it leads. If it's something negative, it gets out front, and that's what people pay more attention to. And usually, some of those stories, if they even get to the air, are at the end of the news where everybody kind of just turn their TV set off after they get the weather and the sports. So I commend these young men. I commend their parents and their community and their families, and hopefully they'll get the support and uplift them. Put them in your prayers, and make sure that they get everything they need to contribute and do some great things. And we just talked about two great men who contributed to our society. Here are two young men who can contribute, not musically or in acting, but in other ways in our society. So they need to be uplifted and supported, so they can shine and do some great things. And we will be talking about them in the history books and how important their contribution was to our society.
Absolutely, man. I'm just happy to see, too, that these brothers aren't basically trying to rap. They're not trying to play a sport. They're using their mind. They're using their mind. Because a lot of us believe that's their only way they can basically achieve success or financial success in this world is basically, grab a basketball, grab a football, grab a baseball, or grab a microphone. And that's never been, the depth of us, but we kind of believe that. And we kind of sold that to ourselves, but they're using their minds to do great things. And I applaud them. I applaud their parents. Gentlemen, it's interesting because I spoke about us not wanting or not being showcased in certain ways. It's amazing. The country itself is seeing something very unique in us, and they want it. And they want it bad. And I'm speaking of our melon. They want that. And it happens to be that dark-skinned humans contains excessive amount of melon found in their skin, which happens to be a derivative of amino acid triosine. Now, the eumelin is the dominant form of melon found in human skin. He said, basically, what does that mean? For the most part, the eumelin that basically is found in our skin, what it does, reality, it gives us different shades of color of black. The black becomes a brown. It moves into, basically, you look at someone that has strong melon, it gives it that different shade, not the hard, deep black that some basically black people have. And what I find about that to be interesting, Mr. Charles, is that, no, I'm going to come to you first, Mr. Jimmy, with this one, because this is the reason why I called you. I'm going to get you a little reason. I'm going to get to
Midnight,
the
at midnight.
exactly. I'm going to get to the main reason why I call in a minute. But this why I want to hit this first because the eumelin, basically, we look at some black folks sometime, we go, they must be mixed. That's not true. That's far from the truth. Now, there's some pan out to be. But it's basically the eumelin in their skin gives them a different shade of black. And think about that for a second. Name me the race, Mr. DeMaurice, on walking the face of this earth that come in different shades other than us.
No, you'd be hard pressed. And so that melanin is something that is not talked about a lot, but that gives us our connection to the sun. And a lot of folks are really realizing that, why we don't really get high rates of sun cancer, skin cancer, things of that sort, because we're a tropical people. We were meant to be absorbing the sun and getting our strength and energy and a lot of different things from the sun. One of my brothers from Ghana, when I shared my story with him, he's like, you need to take walks and put your bare feet in the grass and absorb the sun. And I'm like, wow, that he didn't say melanin, but I knew exactly what he meant. You need to get more of a connection with nature and get out there, and you're always in the house working and blah 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 blah, and you need to collect some of that. You need to that's our source, that's our health source. And so I think a lot of other nations are absorbing it. And brother, I always keep a bag packed. I got my passport up to date. um Have gun, will travel, and I'm ready to shoot this thing. Where you at? Where you at, baby? Where you at? I got that sugar. I'm extra sweet now. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh my goodness, man! Yeah, you got the sugar. You got the sugar, my brother. you got that sugar. That's the old phrase for diabetes. You got the sugar now. You got that sugar. You got the sugar.
Extra chocolatey.
Mr. Charles, for years, man, we've been telling ourselves a different shade must mean mixed race, mean that you must have something else in your race. In reality, it just means that you have your melanin and your melanin. Your thoughts behind it, sir?
Yeah, I find this ironic. This is hilarious because I can remember being younger, and you always had some other folks, particularly some of our folks, talking about, "Oh boy, you know what? You in that sun too long. You too dark." I was
Mm.
like, "Man, I love my color."
Mm-hmm.
And then they go, "Well, you know what? You know what they say about you when you too dark? They don't want nothing that too dark like that." I said, "Who is they?" And I said, "Those same people that you saying are talking about it are the ones running to the tanning booth trying to get this."
Mm.
So I said, "I love my melanin." I used to tell dark skinned sisters, I said, "Look, I love dark skinned women just because they usually have beautiful skin. They don't have a lot of craters on their face. Y'all know how it was when we was younger. But I love the just beautiful, beautiful, genuine skin and the color and to be able to be in the sun is a beautiful thing." So I think when you think about the different varieties in our culture in our race, man, and I'm gonna just say this: I'm an equal opportunity employer, as my dad would say when it comes to women. But imagine there's not one race, as you said, that you can literally close your eyes. You could come up with a woman that you, as far as a color scheme or whatever, how you want her to look, and you can find her in our race. That is amazing. Which why I have not had to go outside what we're doing too much, because everything I'm looking for is right there. And although I love everybody else, I love my people and I love my women.
Well, Mr. Charles, it's a good thing you love everybody else, man, because I got something to drop on you, my brother, my brother, my brother, my brother. Before I drop that on you, I want to make this point clear that black skin produces twice much melanin as white skin. I'm going to say that again. Black skin produces twice as much melanin as white skin. Now, you spoke with us earlier, Mr. DeMaurice. You talked about skin cancer. Melanoma is a serious type of skin cancer, which as such has two countries thinking about their future generations. In a sense where Japan basically 6 months ago started inviting black men over to the country to basically bring their melanin to their women and impregnate their women for their future generations. What they're afraid of is that so many of their population is dying off, and they're dying off to skin cancer. And so they're looking at it for the generations of the grandkids, the latter grandkids. Are there going to be any if their people are dying off? Now, they try to hide this under saying that the Chinese man or sperm was not correct and they're not basically able to produce. That's a bunch of bullshit. The Chinese man doesn't have the melanin that we have. So they can produce, but their kids, they're afraid that their future children of their country are going to die off because he doesn't have that melanin. So how are they going to be able to last and live so many years beyond? You must, in order to fight that, you must bring the melanin to the party. You must bring the melanin to the woman. You must bring the melanin to the children. Therefore, They're looking at our men, us, the brothers that are walking around with the melanin. Please come to our country and take up with our women. Now, Mr. DeMaurice, you and I talked about this. I didn't get a chance to bring this to Mr. Charles, but Mr. Charles, I'm not sure if you first heard about this, but if this is your first time or not the first time, I want to get your reaction to it. When you have a country that basically for years probably looked at black men as being nothing as criminals, thugs, murderers, now you realize we're walking around with something that God gave us that you don't have. You want to invite us to your country. Your thoughts, sir?
First thing come off my that rolls off my brain is they finally understand the royalty, the kingmanship that we hold. And when you think about the creation, who are like the first people, right? And all of that, it says a lot. Plus, too, they have to recognize that we're amazing people, and what we continue to attribute to this world, and it's just amazing. So for them to come out like that is, I said, quite humbling from them for them, I'm sure. And I'm still available. I'm still able. I'm still a producer. So y'all need me? Give me a shout. Give me over. I wouldn't mind going to Japan to make sure that my son and my grandsons are samurais, baby. Let's make it happen. Give me a shout.
I'm over here dancing. Let's go. Let's go.
I'm thinking about starting a union. I'm gonna start a union, man. I want to be head of the union, basically. We need rights. we need this. We need certain as that. Mr. DeMaurice, this is the reason why I called Mr. DeMaurice that night, man. That fateful night we got this conversation, because when I came across this, I immediately sent it to him, and it was just astonishing to me. I mean, we can make fun and and talk that, but Mr. Charles, hit the nail square in the head. It's not like they haven't known this about us. There's no secret. We are the God's chosen one. Whether they want to believe it, acknowledge it or not, I'm going to speak that loud, I'm going to speak that clear. We are God's chosen one. Name me the race that can populate and continue on populating this world and this earth, such other than a black man. I'll listen.
Yeah.
And that's why they're reaching out. Your response,
Yeah,
sir.
that's why I'm reaching out. And this is not something new. This is not something new that we talked about the other night. I have a brother who is, my father went over to Germany, met his mom, and yada yada yada. And he considers himself, African German, and so he has that melanin, and a lot of servicemen all over Europe and different parts of this world have been having children, and the women in these different parts of the world have seen the value of black men. They've been told the stereotypes and like, you know what? No, I don't think the stereotypes are true, and have ventured, to a place where I'm going to have a child, or I'm going to have a relationship with a black man. I see the value in that. And you can look at it in Asia, you could look at it in Europe, you can look at it in different parts of the country, of the world, Australia, everywhere. And so it's ironic that the country we live in don't value it, but you go to other countries, and I know there's racism in other countries, and there are different incidents that happen with black people, but the women there, truth be told, love black skin, love black men. I remember talking to a woman who was from, I forget what European country she's from. She said, "We call you chocolate men. We call you the chocolate men." When we saw the soldiers coming up, those are chocolate soldiers. And so they saw a value in it that a lot of people in this very country we live in didn't see. And so, and that's why you have different children who have the melanin over in Europe and in Asia and different parts of the world, because of some people in those countries saw the value and said, you know what? I'm going to give this a chance. I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to honor that. And so what you see in Japan, and I know another country you're going to mention, they're starting to see it now, but this is nothing new. This is really nothing new.
No, it's not, man. Not at all, by a long shot. It's not even a hidden secret, man. It's been around for years. When you think about basically how we've been in this country as men, been used to basically take us from our own land, bring us to other places to build a country. I mean, it's what would this world be realistically? United States be without us? Think about that for a second. We don't sit around and think about that. What would it be? It wouldn't be much because we've done a lot here. And at the same time, they want to act like we don't belong here. We don't do all that stuff. And I don't want to get too deep in that, but it is what it is. And I go back to what I said earlier, the chosen one. The chosen one. God chooses people to do certain things. And who does he choose? Who has he chose? So it's no surprise to me. And I look at Poland, the other country spoke of Poland. They're trying to be a little more slick about it. they just ain't being as bold as Japan is. Poland are throwing mixers where only black men and white women can attend. Think about that for a second, Mr. Charles. They're throwing mixers. They're inviting you over. And they're saying, you ain't got to pay nothing to come in, my brother. You got the melanin. You come on in. And they're putting white women around you, hoping that you two socialize enough to where you two decide to become one and become a unit and make a family. Mr. Charles, your thoughts, my brother?
Man, that's crazy as hell. Anyway.
Pack your bags, man. We there, bro. We there.
So, I mean, and this is first of all, that it sounds like it's an experiment from, I think they had something where they had like a Star Trek. You remember that one where they had the episode where they had a man and a human and they had a woman or something and they put them together and they ended up just putting them in an isolated place where they could just watch them like they were like experiments.
Yeah.
And see if they would kind of connect and whatever and be together. And I think of that way. So my only question though about that is, if you put us in a situation like that, do we anyway? This is bad, but I'm gonna say it anyway. 'Cause I'm talking about my age. I'm talking about where we at in this current state of affairs. Can you just connect with somebody? Do you got to marry them? Can you Can you just do what you're supposed to do? Cohabitate, take care of your business, be a very strong, staunch figure in the child's life, and be a presence without marriage. That's what I know they coming for me. I don't give a damn. It's real. Y'all need to recognize. Sometimes for some people, marriage messed stuff up. I can still be a great father. I can be a great influencer. I can still love a woman. But why I gotta marry you? Anyway, I
You
know
there
I'm
for
That's
getting
why I'm
work.
have to.
something.
This is work. This is work.
That's why I'm gonna have to start that union, my brother. I'm gonna have to start that union. There's got to be some ground rules here. There's got to be some things to where if you mess this up, we're entitled to this. Ironically, that's funny, Mr. Charles, but that's how brothers are thinking. Let's just keep it real. We're thinking that before we board the plane and go there. I'm sure most men are going to think that too, and it's sad, but that is the current world. That's the current reality, and it's funny because when I think of Poland, I mean, you think of interracial and stuff of that nature. That's a country we never even. Man, come on. When the last time you thought of Poland as a country? When the last time you even thought about? Before I kick the bucket, I want to visit Poland. When the last time? But yet, they're sitting around throwing mixers for you to show up, sir. Your reaction?
Man, I'm all for it. I'm all for it because I ain't saying all our women here, but most of our women here have said, I don't need no man. I'm independent. I don't want you. You ain't worth, squat diddly, all this other stuff. And they just threw us away. They just threw us away. And then other women from other countries are like, you know what? I want some of that. I want some of that. So here's interesting. I saw this brother put this up, and I can't take credit for it. But he said a lot of our women reject the guys that would have wifed them, would have treated them nice, went for the thugs, went for the guys that were no good, have maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 babies, then sitting around wondering where are the good men at? You ditched them. You rejected them. They weren't thug enough for you. They weren't bad boys. And now you're looking for them. You had them, but you let them go. So, I remember we were talking the other night, talking about, a black woman are going to be mad. Good. You had a good thing. You had the chosen. You didn't pick really well. You didn't make good decisions. But now you want to sit there, Vivica Fox at 60 saying, I'm ready to settle down. No, it don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So all these other women from different parts of the country and different countries are saying, you know what? We see your value. We want to think long range. We want to think long range about our children and grandchildren and how they will survive in these environments. Hey, come on over here. Come on over here. We got something for you. Let's build. Let's build. When have you heard of black women? And I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack with this. When have you heard of black women when you're dating them are thinking about building instead of you got to give me this, you got to give me that, you got to give me a bag before I even consider dating you? When do you hear our women talk about we need to build together? We need to think about the future. They thinking about now and what they want now. Screw what you want and what you think in legacy and building. These other women are thinking about legacy and all this other stuff. They are raised to build, raised to be wives, and our women do a piss poor job in raising our black women to be wives, good mothers, and to build and to also build families. And I'll be the bad guy and say it, but
You
until
ain't the
you
bad
prove me
guy.
wrong,
You ain't the
until
bad
you
guy.
prove me wrong, you set this up. So if you're a black woman and you're listening to this, you're mad. Good, because most of y'all set this up this way to where other countries, Asian countries, European countries, even some African countries, they're like, you know what? We want this. We know how to build. We know how to lift up our men to bring out the best in them, instead of doing things to bring out the worst in them. So I'll put the challenge out there. Show me.
See, this is what we were talking about at midnight. This is what we were talking about at midnight, my brother. Yes, sir. And I'm glad we have the platform to have it be said, my brother. I am, because you're right. You're 5,000% correct. And I was going to go there later, but I'll go there now. It's amazing what you don't want, you don't need, someone else wants. They're asking for it. They're dying for it. You didn't even realize who the man that God gave you was to you. It was supposed to be in your life. No, you want bags. You want cars. You want clothes. He got to be this. He got to be that. You didn't realize it. But guess what? The women in Japan or in Poland, they're not asking for bags. They're not asking for a car. They're not asking for this. All they ask is just come here. Like you said, they're saying to themselves, I've been raised to treat you. Yes, we know your American women don't treat you well. I will treat you better. Yes, that's what they're saying. And for them getting mad, get mad. Anger goes where it deserves to go. Get mad. Now, I look at it in a sense a little differently too, my brothers. I'm going to kind of break this down and get you guys' opinion on this. But there was a lady, Jane Elliott, spoke of this years ago. So it's nothing new. But we didn't really take her serious. No one probably took her serious. She says, it's going to come a time due to extinction, like at the point of other race might become extinct. They're going to fall back on us to survive, for us to use us to survive their race, to strengthen and extend their race. And that's what's going on right here. Now, here's my thing about this. When I look at this and I put all the humor aside and I get real serious about this. Why is it that other countries, other places put more value on us than we do ourselves? Think about that for a second. Because if we value ourselves, we're not killing ourselves the way we do. We're respecting ourselves the way we should respect ourselves better. We take pride in who we are as a race of people, which we choose not to do. So we have others outside of the United States put more of an emphasis and value knowing who we are, understanding who we are, the chosen. God Almighty chose us to be. What we have done in this world, they can stand back and see it and want that to be part of their heritage, when we basically want to run from it, act like it didn't exist as a race of people. And that's the point. When I really look at this, is what I see. It shouldn't take them to understand that we got melanin. We should be extending our own race, because realistically, if we were to go to extend the Japanese, the Polish race, think about this. We're making more of them. They're dying off. So we use that together to get our shit together as couples, as black men and black women, and we produce, like you said, Mr. DeVries, and do our own legacy. We would be the high population in this world. We would be the high population in America and the United States. That's how deep that is. But we don't see it as such. We don't. We too busy trying to, well, I don't want to do this. I don't want to cook. I don't want to do that. I don't want to bring him a plate. You're fucking up. We are, as a race of people, we are fucking up. We're too into mind trivial stuff. Wearing this fake hair, getting your ass all big and swollen. Nobody don't want that bullshit. How about we get real with each other as black people? That's my point. That's it right there. I don't care what other countries say they want. I don't give a shit about them extending their generations. It means nothing to me. But I like to know that my generation or my race of people is going to be extended. I would love to know that. And we're living well, running shit. That's what I'm saying. Your response, Mr. Charles.
Woo, that's a lot. Mr. Mark, I don't want that one.
Yes, sir.
So, in all seriousness, I agree with you. I think a lot of it has to start with us in regards to, particularly with our men. It starts with self worth. You got to understand who you are. You got to love yourself first. You know, if you don't love yourself, then it's easy to hate somebody else. Right? If I don't love me, I don't understand who I am. It's easy for me to be jealous of what somebody else has or what they're doing and not understanding what I represent. And also, most importantly, what I represent and what we represent in our structure of our culture, our family, our overall culture, our being. Because we all have responsibilities, particularly as men, to lead. But how can you lead if you don't love yourself? And as you mentioned, other people see the potential. Other people see the other groups see the potential. Other groups see the strength, the leadership, the possibilities. And it's a shame, as you said, that we don't. So that's why we have to start at home with helping even somebody that may not be yours, somebody that you brought into this world or you created a seed for. You have to take time to educate and let others know, particularly the younger people, what their value is. And once you do that, it may not work for everybody, but there'll be enough that will heed what you have to say and move forward. Because young people are always looking for encouragement. It's just often many of us don't take time to provide it.
Yeah, man. I I never apologize for getting hyped because sometimes that's the only way I know to bring it. But yeah, it hypes me. It really does, man, because I just want to see the love we have for our own people. I would love to see that, man. I would love to see that we have love for our own. And I would knock any brother down for going over there doing that. That's your choice. If you choose to, you want to basically be part of that and understand, just know what you're getting into, be safe about it, protect yourself. I would say basically, if you're going to do something of this nature, man, you should get something out of it. The invite is not enough to me. I need something out of this, man. I mean, really, don't sell yourself short because they're looking at you for a reason. But your response to what I said, Demiris.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I truly understand what you're saying, and if it happens, as far as you know, we kind of get our stuff together and start really realizing some things, but I can't see it for the near future. I can't see it the way some of the women that I see, that how they're wired and how they've been raised. It's going to be a yeoman's effort trying to get them out of that, to get their head on straight, to realize and see what's going on, and to do an about face, and to try to kind of rectify the situation. And so I see that a lot of the younger cats, not just us, but the younger cats have a whole new perspective on the dating world now, whole nother perspective. And they are taking the position that, hey, if I'm not wanted and I'm not invited, okay, I won't show up. But I know that there are other people who are wanted and going to invite me, so I'm going. So I'm going there. I'd rather be somewhere where I'm wanted and that I'll be appreciated than in a place where I'm not appreciated, I'm not wanted, and you're going to try to drag me down and you're not trying to build. And I think they got that from the older generation, looking at what was offered to them, what they go through, and Generation X, Generation Gen Z, whatever you're seeing, you're taking examples of that, and you're saying, I'm not going in that. I'm not falling in that pitfall that I've seen the older generations go through. I got a whole nother game plan on doing this, and if this is what you're offering, and if it's not good enough, I don't want it. I don't want it. You don't want me? Cool. I'll go someplace where I'm wanted, where I'm appreciated, where I'm loved, where I'm going to be taken care of, and to women, no matter where they're coming from, Europe, Asia, whatever, I'll go where I'm accepted and I'm going to be treated well as a man and not have to jump through hoops and all this other stuff. So I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I decided this a long time ago. I'm pretty much done with some of the. I'm not playing any games anymore. I'm not, I'm not trying to do any counseling anymore of women in our community. If you weren't raised to be a certain way, I ain't wasting time with you anymore. You have made it very clear over the years. You independent, you don't need no man. You don't need no man. You don't need this, that, the other. I get it. Fine. Stay there. Do you, boo boo. I'm gonna go do me, and I'm gonna be happy, regardless of what nationality I end up with. So you stay on that course, and if it works for you, fine. But I'm taking another course in this because I've had enough. I really had enough.
I love it, man. I double down on what you say 5,000%, my brother. I really do. I double down on it. Do you love podcasts? Have you ever thought about creating your own podcast? What are you waiting for? Get started at podup.com. Podup is one of the sponsors of this podcast, and they will love to someday sponsor yours. Starting as easy as creating an account at podup.com today. Podup has everything you need to run a full professional show with over 35 different tools and with AI integration. Get a 7-day free trial with no credit card required and 15% off with the code when Black Man Talk 15. You don't have time to start a podcast? Check out podallies.com. Get a team of professional podcast professionals to do all the website, social media, and editing work for your podcast. Pal Allies is an agency that run by the folks who built the Podup podcasting software. Get started with them at podallies.com. Get 15% off when you sign up today at Podup or Pod Allies with code when Black Men Talk 15. Podup and Pod Allies can't wait to create with you and launch your podcast. It's interesting, man. You said the General X and the General whatever they were. I don't even like using those codes. Yeah. For some reason, man, I don't like. I never like using codes like that. People are who they are, when their age, or I get it. But I'm going to say this. Came across this as well, man. The younger generation, basically without children, don't plan to become parents. They're saying because of high cost of living, they're going to basically avoid having children. Now, their thoughts of parenting and marriage has basically drastically changed what it was when we were coming up. So they're not looking to get married. Excuse me. They're not looking to basically bring forth children to this world. And if that's the case, Mr. Charles, where's the population going? When you think about the world in general. Now, I look at the reason for cost of living. I mean, I get that to an extent, but I think that's a little BS right there. I really do. I think there's more to it that they don't really want to say. I just don't think that's simply on the cost of living. Because if you want children, you want children. So if you're going to tell me you don't want children based on cost of living, I'm not buying it. Your reaction, Mr. Charles?
D. Marie said it earlier. The world is changing, bro. These young people are like, especially some of these young men, once they understand what it takes to have a family, be responsible. That's the key word, responsibility. So when you get married, you have kids now. You might say cost or money might be a maybe a factor as to why people don't want young people don't want to engage with having a family and whatnot. But it's responsibility. It's a lot of pressure. We didn't see it that way. We were taught that you have a family, this is what you're supposed to do. You take care of your family during the trials and tribulations. Some of these young men and some young women too, they like, man, I've seen what has happened to some people in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and I do not want to go through that BS because it takes work. It takes two people working together, wanting to be together, and building a foundation where they work together to make this union right. And sometimes it don't work. You can have it all together and it just don't work. Particularly when we're looking at the numbers. I get off this very quickly. They're like, why the hell should I get married and want to be connected with a family? This I want to do when I got a 50% chance of somebody breaking it off. takes a lot of dedication, and you got to want to do it. Connecting with two people that understand one another and accept each other together for one another. And my last point, I promise, is this: like I told you, so like a basketball squad, man, you got a teammate, you can't cut them. So what you gonna do? You gotta make them better, or just be mad that they not playing up to the level that you think they should. Make your teammate better, man. Come on.
Well, that's why I was saying I don't think cost is solely it. They can lean on cost. And who would question that? They would think, because, cost of living is expensive. But you touch on some other issues I think that are really more deeper and stringent when it comes to this, because you're looking at it, they don't know if it's going to work. They don't put themselves in a situation if it's going to work. They're not sure. They don't want to be tied to if it doesn't work. And at the same point, man, I think they have sat back, and I hear this from what you're saying. They have sat back and watched other drama-filled situations. I don't want no part of that. I don't want to live like that. I choose not to have that in my life. Now, to a degree, when you say to me, as you don't want to have kids, someone could look at that and say you're selfish. But if that's your choice, that's your choice. I'll respect it. But I will say this, Mr. DeMaurice, when I come to you, we are here to populate the world, man. That's part of the reason why we're here. Your reaction, my brother.
Yeah, I agree, and it will take its toll. But think about the younger generation. Think about what we saw in the older generations, and the uncles we saw that were miserable in their marriages and stuff like that. And we were like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm getting out. I'm bailing out. And think about it. Some of these younger cats are saying, you know what? Think about this. Other than getting some coochie every now and then, what's the benefits for a man to get married?
Why it's got to be every now and then, though, bro?
Every now and then, because it slows down to a halt when you get married. Come on, bro. We've been there. No, it's the only one you can have. It's the only one that's there that you can have legally.
I will say this, my brother. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I can't sound off when I'm slowing down, because it was steady and it increased when I got married. So I'm not.
Yeah, okay. You were the chosen one.
All right now.
Yeah. This is the only one I get. This is forever. So, other than that, what's the benefits to it? Like I said, dating and getting married is a scam for men. It's a scam. It's a scam. It's a trick. Then you lose half your shit when you decide to leave. It's like, so what's the benefits of it? And so when people see that, they go, nah, that ain't gonna work for me. Unless the rules change up a little bit. Again, other than coochie, what's the benefit? And that's the way people, I think that's when I'm talking to these young kids. That's what they're thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Why am I having these kids? And then all of a sudden I got to pay child support because it ain't going to work out. She can leave anytime she wants. I think we talked about a situation where it's like, okay, I got what I want. I'm getting ready to leave. And I'm going to take whatever I want with me. What's the benefit to it? So when people don't see the benefit to it, and the divorce rate 50% and over, even lesbians, they got an 80% divorce rate. They're figuring it out. They think this woman is crazy. Yeah. Now you see it. Now you see it. Okay, now we can talk. Now you see it from my point of view. What's the benefit of it? I'm waiting. Yeah, send all hate mail to me. I'll take it.
I love it, man. I love it.
You know what?
Answer. I ain't gonna lie, man. I came up with a topic for a show we're gonna do soon. It's called Running from Crazy. It's called Running from Crazy.
I'm tired, bro. My feet hurt.
Running from crazy.
Running from crazy all my life.
Running from crazy, man. Oh man, I tell you, it's hey man, who could disagree realistically from the points that you're making, man? I double down again 5,000%. Said it before myself numerous times. And it's amazing. It's sad that in reality that has come to this. It really has. When you think about the younger generation feeling what they're feeling basically what you're saying, like the gentleman said, they're feeling like other than sex, what are they really getting? And a lot of married men are feeling that. They're walking around like, yeah, I am married. I'm responsible for this. I'm responsible for that. And realistically, I'm not looked upon as, other than being a wallet. And a lot of men may not come out and say that are married, but they feel it. A lot of men in relationships, they feel it, and they may not come out and say it. Who are they going to say it to? Because they say it to her, it's not going to be heard. And she's supposed to be one you better say anything to, be honest and be straightforward and be able to basically share that. But a lot of us are in situations where they can't do such. So, I totally get it. And I agree with you. And it's sad because that's not the way it's supposed to be. At the end of the day, you should not basically stand back. You know what? I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to have, because X, Y, Z. And I totally get it. And I just think it's sad that we have done, and I say we as people in relationships and things that, divorces, the rate up is high and all that. We have basically left a legacy to show them that, again, we can't work together. We can't basically work together. We don't know how to work together. We don't choose to work together. And more than likely, it's not going to work. It's not worth it. And a lot of guys now, and I'm not saying women aren't doing the same, they've taken the blinders off. They're really looking realistically and understanding chances of this being successful are not great. Why am I putting myself into this and move into that direction? And those are choices that they're making. And I can understand it and basically respect it. That's a personal choice. Because I respect anyone choosing not to have a child and not doing the right thing by the child. Meaning that choosing not to get pregnant, knowing that they don't want kids. They don't want it because that's not what they want in their life. So I never look at that person and go, that you're not living up to your responsibility, because it takes courage and strength to understand that. Understand your limitations. If that's not for you, that's not for you. So, there's a lot in there, but I'm going to thank you too for defining it the way that you two did and bringing it there, man. Gentlemen, we're going to put a wrap on this one, get together again next week. Look forward to basically, we're back doing before we get out of here, man, I want Dean Reese to talk about the sports show, man, because we're back doing the sports show. We did take a hiatus from that for a little while as well. So kind of fill us in, man, what's going on with the sports show, my brother?
Yeah, we do 3 sports shows, especially during football season. We do the First 40 sports show where it's me, Mark, and Charles. We take on our aliases, our superhero names. Black Thor is Mark. I'm Puma, and the code Ice Water is Charles. So we do that every week. We also do NFL Picks, which is a popular show. And then me and Ice do a show called The Fight Game with Ice Water and Puma, which seems to be really a popular show. We tell it like it is in the fight world. And this should be a very exciting show. I think I'm going to go off on that show this week. Canelo fans, stay tuned because I'm going to hurt your feelings. But we have a lot of commentary. We tell it like it is. We're not like any other sports show. We're not confined by producers or networks or anything. So we tell it like it is. We used to say on our old podcast, put the women and children to bed. Some men are going to do some drinking and talking sports. And that's what we do. We bring it real. So if you want sports shows, we have 3 that are different from the current sports shows you're seeing. And you want to hear some real commentary for some real guys who know sports, come check us out.
There it is, man. Gentlemen, we get together in about 7 days, do it all over again. Appreciate you two doing what you always do. Bring it strong without apologizing for it. That's who we are. When Black Men Talk, Mr. DeMaurice, Mr. Charles, Mark Elliott, we get together real soon. Do it again. God always love you. We love you too. Take care of yourself.